Hi everybody, and a big welcome to cEDH TV gameplay. My name is Mons and joined by Pontus and Rhetoric and Snuske.
Yo.
And today we're going to be playing some competitive Commander with the new rules change. So let's take a look at how we've changed our deck lists. As Cise is absolutely my favorite Commander, I have to cut Dockside Extortionist and Mana Crypt from this deck list. I've added Mana Dorks to replace the Mana Crypt, which is definitely a power down, and I've replaced Dockside Extortionist with Collector Roof. I wasn't playing Collector Roof before because I kinda need to sacrifice my artifacts, but cutting Dockside kinda removes the entire interest almost of artifacts, and cutting Mana Crypt as well. So I added more creatures. I've also added Agatha Soul's Cauldron as I've added more creatures. I'm still testing Necrodominance and Necropotence as I do think that they are potentially still good, and we still have a few artifacts that can help out to kind of win post the Necropotence combo run, so to say. But we will see in the end how this kind of develops. If it's getting tricky for Cise to do Necro without the existence of Dockside Extortionist, but I think it's gonna work out okay, at least in the creature-orientated aspect.
I am trying out a new deck. In my list, it is Kitza, Otterball Elite. But really, my strategy with the band was to go with a cheaper commander. So it's 2 cost and kind of stick with mono colors, things of that sort, which could be not too beneficial because we don't have Jeweled Lotus anymore. But nevertheless, this was the strategy I wanted to try. And some of the things I just popped in and out were a bit more interaction or pieces that we may not have room for. For example, like I don't always play top in my decks, but that was one I think that I had popped in for this case. So we'll see. I think it's kind of exciting to try some new stuff when you're forced to remove things. And also, like, I'm looking at this card that Mons, you're scrolling right next to the One Ring. I think it's called Thran Turbine or something of that sort. I can't quite remember. If you scroll over, you can see that. But it allows you to make 2 mana and your upkeep that you can use for activated abilities. So kind of getting creative with different cards is interesting to me.
So the ban very much affected Dargo. Dockside and Jeweled Lotus are like 2 of the most build-enabling cards for Dargo lists in general. And losing Mana Crypt is never nice in a faster shell. But I'm trying to see if the deck is salvageable. I don't think it is compared to other turbo lists, but I think it will still be playable. So basically I've rehauled the deck a lot because casting Dargo is now hard. So I put in a lot more cards that helps cast Dargo. And in that I do lower the card quality overall. I kind of need to go harder on having outlets and like combos. So the deck is just overall a lot more all-in, but it's also slower. So I'm not sure how it will play out, but this is the point where I'm starting off. So let's see if it works at all.
I started getting some interest after the last video to play some Rock-Wrecked Thrasios, and then the bans happened. There are some Dockside loops in this deck that were pretty consistent. I have tried to swap that out for Sticker Goblin, and we'll try to see how that works out when it's only red mana. It does mean that I've lost Dockside, Lily Splash Mentor, and Mana Crypt. Lily Splash Mentor was just simply a way to loop Dockside, but it's really hard to make green and blue with Sticker Goblin, so we had to cut that. Instead, we have Hullbreaker Horror back as a way to just make infinite mana, the Sticker Goblin as a worse version of Dockside for some of the Curio loops, and a Bloom Tender for some early mana development. And Mons gave me the okay to give an opinion on the ban list. I can see both sides. I can agree with the bans in some ways, but Jeweled Lotus to me seems like the odd one out, definitely, both for casual and for competitive in my opinion. But the rest were just powerful cards that would enable like a shake-up in the meta. If I agree with that or not, I'll plead the fifth, I guess, even though I'm from Denmark. But let's see what happens in the meta going forward. Chrome Mox to get Thrasios out on turn 1, but we don't really have any good follow-up. So I'm gonna try to look for either more mana to get Thrasios going or some card engines like Ristic Study or Fish. Guild Artisan is some good mana development, an Arcane Signet, but not much acceleration. If this was like a 6 or 5, could potentially keep it just to get the mana rolling, and then go from there. I think we can try and do better. Here we do get the Mystic Remora for turn 1, Magda out early as well. I think this is good enough, especially going first with the Mystic Remora.
Okay, so first 7 has a problem that we're gonna see a lot more of in the future. Doesn't really have any ramp. We have an Ancient Tomb, which is honestly a lot better than it was before because Crypt doesn't exist. But we don't really have anything to do with the mana. We can't do anything turn 1, and like our best play turn 2 is to Tainted Pact for value, and we don't really have anything that we want to Tainted Pact for. We don't really have any lines to like actively look for in this hand. This is just a mulligan. This hand has more mana. Sadly, it's the worst mana in the deck. Mox Amber isn't going to be live. Mox Amber is one of those cards that I'm kind of sus on. I feel like it really helps us nosing and like storming with Rakdos, but it also is really bad early. So it's one of those cards that I added just to be able to have better storm potential, but it feels bad in mulligan so far. Let's mulligan and hope we find a game plan. Going to 6. But this hand is the closest to being keepable so far. Yeah, I like this hand the most. It's not a great hand, but it is pretty good. Gemstone, land. I'm undecided if we want to do turn 1 Bergi or turn 1 Demonic Tutor. Either way, we hopefully find a wheel turn 2. But I'm not entirely sure how we do it. Sadly, we do need to like exile one of the cards. I would love to keep Mox Opal and exile anything else, but we can't do that, and I think Grim Tutor is the worst card possible, so I'm gonna just exile that and keep Mox Opal and Rakdos in the deck. Yeah, I think we just slam Bergi turn 1 and then DT turn 2 and hopefully find something to do.
Totally piloting this deck for the first time. So, I mean, there's a couple things I could say that this deck wants to do, and it can do well, which is we have a commander that draws us cards right in the box. Definitely by turn 3, which may be a bit slow, but hey, maybe the format's a bit slower now. I have 3 lands. I have this Thrawn Turbine as well, and High Tide as well as Twiddle. So all the little pieces that work well with this commander, there's just a bit. So for example, if I were to play Thrawn Turbine turn 1, then play this on turn 2, turn 3, I could start doing a few things. Now, again, that might be a bit slow, but here we are. So I'm going to go ahead and keep it and see what happens. Take it away.
Hey, that's actually a Ragavan turn 1 and then an Ancient Tomb follow-up. So we get Ceasing to play quite early. We get Ragavan going. Ceasay will be a 3/3 with the Ragavan. We'll be able to activate Ceasay. Maybe we're not gonna play the... It kind of depends on what we draw into regarding the Ancient Tomb. But I am keeping this hand. Nox the Survival, Swan Song, Savin's Reclaim. Yeah, like we could get better hands, but I don't know what I'm kind of mulliganing for, because normally it was like mulligan towards a Dockside Extortionist to get a great start. I guess we could mulligan towards a Rhystic Study, but honestly I kind of like just playing Ceasay with a 7-hander.
I have a pregame. I will put this Gemstone counter into play, exiling a Grim Tutor.
I'm gonna draw a card. I'm gonna shock in a Steam Vents, taking 2. Then I'm gonna cast a Rock Rack. Then I'm gonna tap the Steam Vents for a blue for a Mystic Remore. I'm gonna pass my turn.
Go to my turn. Land for turn will be a City of Traitors. I will tap it and the Gemstone Caverns to cast a Bergi, not triggering the Mystic Remore as this game. And with Bergi in play, I'll pass the turn.
Draw a card. Snow-covered island and pass.
I'm gonna draw a card. I'm gonna go Arid Mesa, sacrifice it, finding a Taiga, tapping that for red to cast a Ragavan, Nimble Pilferer. I like what you did, Snuske, so...
You just didn't trigger my fish. You guys suck. I'm gonna untap. Clearly the ban list did a number on these guys. They don't even know how to play cEDH anymore. So the fish didn't really work, but we're gonna give them one more chance. There is definitely a world where we just cast Thrasios or Magda this turn by playing the Gaia's Cradle, but that's already kind of slow. I think I need the card draw to do something. So we're gonna give these guys one more chance, and maybe we'll draw like a Birds of Paradise or a Delighted Halfling. I think we're gonna take the chance and just give this Mystic Remore another go. I think they're gonna remember what format we're playing, and then we'll hopefully draw some cards. Pay for my fish. I'm gonna draw a card. Play this Scalding Tarn, and I'm gonna pass my turn.
Go to my turn. I'll tap City of Traitors, floating colorless, casting a Sol Ring, triggering Bergi. I will not pay for fish.
I have drawn a card.
I get the red mana and Sol Ring resolves. Land for turn will be a command tower. ETB, I will have to sacrifice a City of Traitors. I'll tap command tower, use the colorless floating to cast a Demonic Tutor, trigger Bergi. While I can pay for fish here, I will not. Demonic Tutor resolves, and I'll find this card, also make my red mana. I'll tap Sol Ring, use the 1 red floating, cast the Wheel of Fortune, trigger Bergi. This time I can't pay, so I won't pay.
I would like to respond. I have a Force of Negation, pitching a Pact of Negation.
I was gonna curse, but we don't do that on this channel, so I'm just gonna say, wait, that's also a curse. No!
Pontus, what you say in this is järnspikar, or danskjäkel är bra den är.
No, but that's a swear word.
Isn't that just Danish devil?
Basically. Wheel is exiled, and I pass the turn.
Alrighty, let's draw a card. Riptide Laboratories land for turn. I will tap both and cast Kitza. I will pass the turn.
My turn, draw a card. Snuske, I'm sending Ragavan straight towards you.
Against me? Fine, I'll take 2. You get a Taiga.
And I get a treasure. I'm immediately going to sacrifice this treasure and then use Taiga and this Ancient Tomb and cast a Smoldering Tide. giving a card draw to Snuske. And with that, I will pass the turn. Feed me.
Untap. I think with Pontus out of the picture, I think we can reliably let go of the fish. I will sacrifice it and I will draw a card. Play this Gaia's Cradle. Oh yeah, you can make a treasure. I will tap for 3 and I'm going to cast a Relic of Legend. I'm going to tap the Relic of Legends and the Rock Rack to make 2 mana and cast a Magda. I'm going to tap Magda, which makes me a treasure and a floating mana, which is going to be blue or green. And then I'm going to sacrifice the treasure to cast Thracia. From here, I'm simply going to pass the turn.
Go to my turn. I will pay for Smothering Tide. Land for turn will be a Badlands, and I'll tap my 3 lands to cast a Tymna. Trigger Bergie, making a red. But then I'm going to be a bit nice to us and try to draw a card with Tymna. So we give some, we take some, attack monster for 3.
Yeah, I can take 3.
Post-combat main phase, Tymna triggers. I will pay 1 to draw 1. And this time I cannot pay. And then I pass the turn.
Nice. All right, Smothering Tithe, I'm not going to pay. Land return is a Cephalid Coliseum. I will tap Cephalid Coliseum, taking a damage, and Riptide Laboratory to cast this Grim Monolith. Yeah, that's it. Go ahead.
Untap and draw a card. I'm gonna play a Scrub land. I'm gonna take 2 and cast Sisei. Snuske has a 1/3, Redrick has a 1/3, so Pontus, you're the only attacker. Do you want to trade or do you want to give me a treasure?
You can steal the land off the top of my library. So I will take 2 and exile, Entomb.
So with Entomb, I can put whatever card I have in my deck into my grave. And then with a Noxus Revival, I can put that on top of my library. So I can basically demonic vamp tutor here, but also have a Sevin's Reclamation, so I can actually bring whatever I find into play. I have exactly 5 mana for a CC activation. So the question is, like, do I activate CC or do I like entomb things here? Truth be told, I think mana efficiency, I think it's better to actually activate CC here. Now, you could run into the argument that currently I'm a arch enemy of the table, and if I activate CC, I might run into problems. However, I'm not finding anything particularly scary. Or we'll see, that depends on how they view it. I think the better course of action is actually to focus more on activating Sisei. On the other hand, we are going to pass turn, and in this turn cycle we should be able to get a secondary card, or secondary treasure, except that they might start paying for it now that I potentially have it. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna be putting into my graveyard. I think Derevi might be the one, but in the end I think it's better to actually save the mana, because if I get one more treasure, I can use the Swan Song and a CC activation at the same turn, and I think that's stronger. So the goal now currently is just to build creatures, build CC, puts interaction and stacks cards into play, and try to see how we can develop from that. I'm passing the turn instead.
I am going to untap and draw a card. I will pay. Play my land for turn, which is a Minamo. Tap the Magda with the relic, creating a treasure. And I'm going to create a green mana. I'm going to use the floating green and the tropical island to cast a Devoted Druid. Tap the Gaia's Cradle for 1, 2, 3, 4 mana and cast a Machine God's Effigy.
I pass on you trying to get infinite green-blue.
Look through my deck list to see if there's anything I have on CMC 3 or less that does anything.
So I had past priority saying that I did not have a counterspell for Machine God's Effigy, but I don't think that was in a recording. So audience, you know this now. I said that, and then Mons was searching up something. So now that he has done that, I will respond, and I'm going to try to tap the island and then put in 3 mana here and attempt to Otawara the Devoted Druid.
So he was being sneaky. Yeah, sure. Otawara will bounce the Devoted Druid back to my hand.
CC resolves. I'm gonna find Kinnan, and I guess I'm gonna be the arch enemy of this game. Kinnan in play.
Cool. Machine Gun's Effigy will enter as Kinnan. I'm glad it was Kinnan. It's going to help out a little bit. It's going to make some of these things a bit easier. Cast a Sticker Goblin. I have 3 sticker sheets. I might as well show them to the audience so nobody thinks I'm doing shit. These are the 3 I was given. I have 2 5s among them, Unsanctioned and P-Brain. So I'm just going to choose one of those to make 5 red mana. I'm going to use one of my 5 red and cast a Gamble. I have 2 cards in my hand. 33% chance this doesn't work at all. Oh yeah, he has a Swan Song in hand.
Redrick, if you give me mana by tapping your commander to draw a card, I have interaction versus the gamble.
Okay, I will tap Kitsa and draw a card, then discard a card. And the card I will discard is Reliquary Tower.
I will make a treasure. I will sacrifice that treasure floating 2 blue mana, use one of those to cast a Swan Song on the gamble. You have currently made an enormous amount of mana. Even though gamble could brick you. I don't want to risk it, so I'm gonna counterspell this. You could find a very scary creature.
The only thing I can do in response is I'm going to use my 4 floating red mana to activate Thrasios. I'm going to scry, looking at this card. Oh, that's a good backup. We just do that instead. I'm going to reveal a Rhystic Study, put that in my hand, and then I'm going to let this gamble get countered. Tap Thrasios for a blue, tap Minano to untap Magda, and then I'm going to tap Magda with the Relic of Legends to make a blue mana and a treasure. Use one of the treasures for 2 and cast a Rhystic Study. Pass my turn. I tried to win twice, but they wouldn't let me.
Let's go to my turn then. Probably gonna be way less exciting. Tithe trigger, and I will continue to pay. But then, land return will be a emergence zone. And after emergence zone, I would like to go to combat. While I'm very sad about the Smiling Tide, I'm not in the game unless I'm trying to draw myself into it. So moving to attacks, swinging a 3/3 at Snuske and a 2/2 at Rhetoric.
No blocks.
Yep, no blocks.
So I'll gain 2, posting on main phase, 2 on trigger. I will pay 2 to draw 2.
Pay for both, please.
I can actually pay for 1.
That's something.
So I'll pay for 1 trigger. Monster gets the other one. And then I pass turn.
I will take my turn, draw a card. Smothering Tithe, I will not. Land return is a snow-covered island, tapping Cephalocosium for damage, and I'm going to pay 1 for Twiddle, and I'm going to target Grim Monolith and trigger Kitsa.
In response to the commander trigger and the Rhystic trigger, I will tap 2 to cast a Orcish Bowmaster. I cannot pay for Rhystic on Bowmaster.
No response, Bowmaster.
Bowmaster resolves an ETBs. That's a treasure, and it will try to shoot. Let's start with Kinan.
Draw for Rhystic, and that
Doesn't it trigger Mon's Smaller Tide first, and then so Mon's Tide triggers first, then my Bowmaster triggers, which means my Bowmaster solves first, killing Kinan before he gets a treasure, right? Because app now, I'm last in priority.
Oh yeah, it's his turn. True.
It's Rhetoric's
True.
turn. Yeah,
Yes, that is true. I forgot which turn we were on. You're right.
yeah, that was my exact thinking. So I will kill Kinan before he gets double activation.
Yep, cool.
Okay, yeah, targeting Kinan.
Kinan takes 1.
You may draw a card so that you can kill Kinnan.
That'll trigger Tithe and Bowmaster. Bowmaster solves first. Bowmaster likes to kill Kinan.
Kinan is dead. I get a treasure going up to 5 from the Rhystic Study after Kinan's been killed, and then Twiddle is back on the stack.
We have Prowess, so it's a 2/4, and then Twiddle on the stack. Any response? Twiddle will untap Grim Monolith. I tap Grim Monolith, putting 3 in the pool. I will then tap Snow-Covered Island, leaving 1 colorless floating, and I'll cast Spellseeker. Rhystic Study, I will pay the 1. Spellseeker resolves. I will search. So I grabbed Dramatic Reversal. I do have the mana to untap Grim Monolith at least and stuff like that if I want at the moment. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and draw a card and discard a card. Not paying for Smothering.
So before this moment, I have a Bowmaster trigger.
Can we be scared of Snuske now?
Magda, but I can tell you my hand right now does absolutely nothing.
So my basic question was is, will you draw a card as soon as possible? Can you? Will you lie?
I can't draw a card. I can't draw a card as soon as possible. There's nothing in my hand that is drawing a card.
I actually think...
I think you should be scared of Magda with the Reliquary, Relic of Legends, and a Kinan. And
I agree.
No, this is a Machine God's effort.
I agree, but also... What I'm also thinking about is... Okay, so you have 2 activations on your turn, but...
No, I have 1 activation on my turn. How? I don't know how to teach you this better. I have 6 treasures. I have 6 treasures and then 2 more here. If I have a land in my... I have, 7 treasures, so to say. And... No, I gained a treasure from Redrick, so I have 6 treasures.
Oh, that treasure
is
on the stack, so I thought you hadn't done
Yeah, if you have a land in hand
sure,
and you get through with Ragavan, that's 2.
Okay. 5 treasures changes the math mods. 6 treasures doesn't. I'm a kill Mike, then maybe we get it.
Sure.
And then I get my treasure from Redrick draws and discards a card.
Okay, I drew the card and I got a discard. It'll be Urza's Saga. I am going to then tap the Snow-Covered Island and use the floating mana to cast Dramatic Reversal. Triggers Rhystic Study. I cannot pay. We also have a Prosh trigger on the stack.
All this discussion for nothing.
You can have your treasure.
Yeah, but I'm killing Dragavan before you get your treasure.
True.
Dragavan is dead and I gain a treasure.
We have Prosh trigger, and then we will untap Grim Monolith and Dramatic Reversal. Grim Monolith and Kitsa. So here's the interesting thing: is CSA's a 2/2, right? I think it's kind of funny that you could just start bolting all of his different creatures. It's like I'm working with you, Pontus. Let's go ahead and activate Kitsa again by drawing a card, discarding a card.
So by now I actually do need to respect Snuske more than Cisse. Two activations, that's nothing. Are you gonna draw more rhetoric? Basically, do I kill Rograk or do I kill Sticker Goblin? Okay, okay. So you're gonna keep storming. Okay, let's just kill Rograk then to be safe.
Boo.
I will draw a card, and then we have trigger from Smothering Tithe. Can't pay. That is not the card I wanted to see. That is going to go to bin. So I will then tap for 3 more, and I'll cast Thrawn Turbine. Not paying.
Cool, I'll draw. I've drawn so many lands.
Trigger Bowmaster, put 1 damage in Sticker Goblin.
Why not Spellseeker? I don't know if it
I
matters.
don't believe he will use it this turn, and it'll die before it gets back to him.
No other plays. I'm a bad Kitsa player. I'll learn. Go ahead.
I have effects in your end step. I'm gonna pay 2 life and cast a Noxus Revival, targeting my Kinnan. I am not paying for Heuristic Study, and I'm so happy I didn't use it. My plan was to maybe use Entomb to Entomb and then use Noxus Revival on something. I'd rather do this instead.
If I draw here, Pontus, will you leave my Sticker Goblin alone?
Yeah, I think you need to not draw, so sure.
What? No, I think I need to draw, so I can find something for what he's about to do. I drew lands. Would you like me to tell you
That's
my entire hand?
That's a different argument.
I would like
but
to
I
draw
think,
without you killing the Sticker Goblin.
Can I kill you instead?
You can start killing me, sure.
Ah.
You can hit my face, I don't care about that. Leave my blocker alone.
Okay, sure. I think I need you because I'm just dead on board. Otherwise.
I will draw a card.
And I will ping Mons in the face just as a message.
Snuske, do you pay for my Tithe when you draw a card?
No.
I will go up to 10 treasures and Kinnan is on top of my library. I will go to my turn and then untap and draw the Kinnan. I'm gonna play a Tropical Island as land drop and then I'm gonna recast my Kinnan. Not paying for Heuristic Study here.
We'll draw.
Ping CC4.
I make a treasure, Kinnan resolves. So I'm going to sacrifice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 treasures and put a CC activation on the stack. Now, I also have floating another CC activation in Verburg mana as well. I'm gonna find a Teferi Time Reveler. This is a silence effect that is gonna shut down all of my opponents from trying to do cool stuff. Then I have floating mana, so I'm gonna spend all of it to activate CC once more. I'm gonna find Cradle on my second activation. Then I'm gonna sacrifice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 treasures and double activate or activate CC, finding Darevi, Imperial Tacticianer. On ETB, we're gonna target Cradle. I'm going to tap Cradle in response to generate a total of 3 green mana. And then we're gonna untap the Cradle. And then with the secondary CC activation, the last one, I'm gonna find Emil the Blessed. So here I have the Darevi, Emil the Blessed, and Gaia's Cradle assembled. So I can tap Cradle to generate a whole bunch of mana. I can use that to activate Emil the Blessed to flicker Darevi. When I flicker Darevi, it comes into play and it untaps Cradle again. With this, I can generate infinite mana because I have other permanents that basically tap for some mana. For example, I have Tropical that taps for blue, Scrubland, black and white, and then Taiga for red. So I have infinite mana of any color. With this, I can activate Kinnan infinitely until I find Orcish Bowmaster. Now I can't tutor for Orcish Bowmaster with CC because it's not legendary, but Kinnan will find it. With infinite mana and Emil and Orcish Bowmaster, I have infinite damage. And here I have a clean win. GG's, CC wins. And there's no need for Dockside Extortionist, as you can see, whatsoever. So there was a lot of back and forth there for me. I thought that I had a pretty decent game, then Kinnan got killed, Pontus got Orcish Bowmaster, and when I saw the Bowmaster I thought, nah, this is never gonna work. I'm super happy I had a Noxus Revival. Somehow I ended up with more treasures than I thought I would have, and I could Noxus Revival Kinnan to the top of the library and win from there. I'm very happy to see how the game got slowed down. Now Pontus' Wheel of Fortune got counterspelled, and if that would have resolved, the game would have been at a very higher pace and I would have lost some very key good cards there. But still, it's kind of cool to see and showcase that CC can still do it even though Dockside is gone.
But also just to address the final turn from Mons, I had a lightning bolt in my hand that didn't matter. We talked about it too. Even if he didn't go for Teferi, if he just goes for Cradle into Emil into Derevi, there's no window for me to kill anything because he would have enough mana to activate Emil an additional time to bounce Derevi. And killing the Kinnan also didn't matter because he would just float all the mana he needed, and then Kinnan can just die because it doesn't matter anymore. Wander his line a little bit with the going for Bowmaster, but he also has infinite cEDH activations, so he'll get there in another way instead. So the lightning bolt simply doesn't matter. So the best I could hope for was him not getting Teferi and getting Derevi first before Emil to have a window to do something. He didn't do that because he knows how to play cEDH, so it didn't work out.
I also want to call out, Mon said he's not winning on his turn, and he won on his turn. I told everyone, Mons just gaslit me.
Yeah, Swedish players lie, and it takes a liar to
people
lie.
call me a liar. Watch this.
I didn't have
Takes one to know one.
that amount of treasures, and then suddenly you guys just kept going with more. I ended up with more treasures than I thought I would end up with.
I see the warning bells, and you gaslight me to not see them anymore.
Yeah, you gaslit Rhetoric into thinking that there was no threat, so he just kept drawing cards, giving you treasures, and then you won the game.
It's all my fault. No. No, I think that was interesting for me. Like, I mean, I want to try Kitsa again. I'm already expecting there'll be some comments about Stella Lee. I've seen that already on Reddit, so. But nevertheless, like, there was a Smothering Tithe, there was later an Orcish Bowmasters, then there was a Ristic study, and trying to storm off with all those things kind of made it difficult, but nevertheless, I don't think that should stop you from just playing the game and seeing what happens, because I didn't know that you had a Orcish Bowmasters, and as we saw, Pontus was sort of picking off different creatures, so that could have been useful. Nevertheless, I think that the gaffe of trying to think of dramatic reversal, may have popped off too soon. I could have cast things a little sooner, but I didn't want to reveal my hand along the way, so I'll try it again.
Hope you enjoyed the match. Take care, guys. We'll be back as normal next week. See you then.